Hello everyone and welcome to the Financial Dads Podcast. My name is Juliette Fagan and I am here with my dad Paul Fagan and his friend Jody Fisher and his daughter Juliette. Hey Jody and Juliette, how are you doing?
Good morning, Julia. How are you?
Good.
Juliette, say hi.
Hi.
Hi, Juliette.
This podcast is for all the dads out there who struggle with life's topics as they are related to family and finances. Our hope is that we can provide our thoughts, success, and mistakes and share them with all of you.
Thanks, Julia, for that great introduction. And Juliette, thanks for joining us this week. Very cool, very cool. So today's topic is to talk about needs versus wants, right? So what we want to do today is talk about what a need is and what a want is. So, Julia, do you know what a need versus a want is? You were talking a little bit about it in the car on the way to get donuts.
A want is like a toy or like something that you don't have to live on, and a need is something like food, clothes, and shelter.
Very cool. And Juliette, what do you think of when you think of needs versus wants? What is a need and what is a want?
A want is...
Oh, that was for Juliette. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say Julia?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
They're so
that's
close. The names are so close.
I know, it's crazy. So that's on me.
It's gonna be fun.
So Juliette, what is your thoughts when it comes to needs versus wants? What do you think is a need and what do you think is a want?
What do you need, Juliette? What do you need in life?
A need is like,
Can you give an
food.
example? Food. That's a good one. And what's a want? Do you have a want?
A want is like stuffed animals.
Although you could argue that you need at least one stuffed animal, right, in your bed. Right. Paul, I think this is a great example of sort of why we do this every week. We have two guests here who are the whole reason that we do what we do and talk about what we talk about every week, with budgeting and finance and family planning. So we're getting the whole reason for being here this morning with our two special guests.
Yes, I agree. Thankful and grateful, as I always say in my podcast. Thankful and grateful we have our little ones with us here today to talk about needs versus wants. So I think what we want to get into is probably that mantra that I know Julia, what does it say here?
You get what you get and you don't get upset with the wants you receive.
That's right. Right? So it's all about the needs versus wants. We thought we'd play a little bit of a game and maybe go through the list. And Julia, I know that these are some of the things are needs versus wants, right? And why? Uh-huh. Can I ask you a couple of questions? And then Jody's going to ask Juliette a couple of questions?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so Julia, toilet paper, is that a need or a want?
A need.
A need, and why is it a need?
Because if we didn't have toilet paper, then what would we wipe everything with?
Okay. Now how about squishies? Squishy toys.
That's a want because they're basically toys, and toys are a want.
Okay, and Dunkin' Donuts for breakfast, which we just did.
It's both, because a want is donuts for breakfast and a need is breakfast.
Ah, very smart, very smart. And electric for the house?
That's a need. It's kind of half of both, but it's a need mostly because if you didn't have electric, then we wouldn't have lights or anything.
And how about cable TV?
That's a want because if we can we don't need TV. We don't need it to watch everything on TV.
Okay, cool. And do you want to ask me three things of what needs versus want?
Slime.
Slime, that's a want.
Why?
It's a want because it's a toy.
Shelter.
That's a need.
Why?
Because we want to be safe and we want to be secure. We need a
but
place to live.
But that's a want. Because you're talking about it as a want.
I guess it's a need.
It's both.
Shelter's a need. Okay, it's both. Okay, and one more thing?
A microphone.
For a podcaster, that may be a need.
That's definitely a need.
It's definitely a need, but I think it could be a want, right? So we do have a lot of microphones. Well, we have three microphones. Oh, you have your
paper one.
Which one?
The paper one that I got at the original.
The paper microphone. Okay, I'm not okay. Mm-hmm. Well, anyway, so I think that a microphone for me is both a need and a want. Mm-hmm. We need it. For the podcasting.
And for, like, announcing things, like the presidents need it.
That's right. Presidents need microphones. I need a microphone for the podcast. So
I want a microphone for singing.
Got it. Okay, so Jody, we'll hand it off to you and Juliette.
Sure. Well, before we do our list, I want to compliment Julia on that. And she brought up a really good point that certain things can be both needs and wants. And the thing I went back to was Paul and Julia, your conversation about a house, right? And Paul, your reaction to a house or to shelter was immediately that's a need. But I guess maybe it also can be a want because you could need shelter to be safe and secure, to have somewhere to sleep and somewhere to live. But it could be a want depending on how big your house is, or the different types of things that are in your house, or maybe how many bedrooms you have. So it can be, you pointed out a really good point there, that can be certain things can be a little bit of both, right?
That's right. And you said furniture, right, Jules? Mm-hmm. Yeah, she just interjected with furniture could be a want.
There you go.
Different types of furniture, right? Very cool.
Exactly.
Very cool. I'm excited to hear Juliette and Jody go.
This is a really nuanced conversation that we've walked ourselves into here, Paul. All right, so Juliette, it's our turn. You ready? Okay. Now remember, you got to speak up, okay? Because no one can see you nod on a podcast, okay? So you got to speak. All right, here we go. So, Juliette, needs versus wants. What do you think an iPad is? Is that a need or a want?
A want because you don't really need to watch a lot of stuff. You could do other stuff.
You could do other stuff. Okay, that's good. How about clothing? Is clothing a need or a want?
A need because you need to have something to wear to school every day.
Very good. Okay. What about rainbow unicorns? You have a lot of rainbow unicorns on your bed. Are those needs or wants?
Want.
Those are wants? Why are they wants?
Because you don't really need them.
You don't really need them? No. You made it like you really did need them every time we bought one of them. I need that unicorn. I gotta have it. Okay, what about school? Is school a need or a want for a 7-year-old?
A need because you need to learn stuff.
Very good. What's your favorite subject in school?
Math.
Math. You like math, huh? And what else do you like in school?
Art.
Art. And there was one more that I thought you would say you would like.
Gym.
There you go. You like to run around a lot, right? Oh, very good. And last one, what about ice cream? Is ice cream a need or a want?
It's kind of both because you need food, but at the same time you want ice cream for dessert.
Very good. All right, I like that reasoning. That's terrific. You did a great job. Now, thank you. Now you get to ask me. And we wrote down a little list here, but you get to ask me needs versus wants. So you go ahead, go down the list, and you ask me.
A drill.
A drill. So a drill like a hand drill, like the one I just bought to replace the old one of mine that died?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would say that's both a need and a want. For a dad who's handy around the house, I would say that's a need because I do a lot of projects, and a lot of projects need a drill. But it is a want because you can survive without it. So I would say a little bit of both. Go ahead.
A bed.
A bed. I would say that a bed is definitely a need because you do need somewhere comfortable to sleep. Because if you don't sleep, you'll be very tired. You'll never get anything done. The kind of bed you have might be a want. You could get a very basic bed, or you could get a very luxurious or expensive bed. So that part of it would be a want, but I would still say that a bed is a need.
A house.
A house. Well, we did that one already, right? And we talked about a house being both more of a need than more of a need versus a want. The type of house you have may be a want, but a house is also, I think, a need, or somewhere to live at least. Maybe it's not a house, maybe it's an apartment, maybe it's somewhere else, but it's definitely you need somewhere to live. Last one.
Video games.
Video games. Well, if you asked your brother, who is playing video games right now, he would say that video games are a need. And he's very good at video games, but I would say that video games are definitely a want, not a need. Good job, Juliette.
Oh, very good, guys. Juliette, awesome job, hon. Awesome job.
Say thank you.
Now, Julia was she was telling me some things on the side while you guys are going through the list. So the first one about video games and the brother, we have a brother in the house.
My brother has like this big PC and he plays on it every day.
I heard that he built that himself, Julia.
Did he?
He built it, remember, with Marco, our buddy Marco.
Oh, yeah.
Who's also been doing podcasts for 10 plus years on the technology side, which is pretty cool. HotHardware.com. I don't want to plug them, but I do want to plug them, I should say. HotHardware.com.
Nice. There we go. Cross promotion. We love it.
That's right. And what about the drill?
A drill is like also a need and a want because you want it because maybe you want it to make something, but a need is like if you're a construction worker and you're paid to build a house, you need a drill to put in screws and stuff like that.
That is absolutely right, Julia. Very good.
Thank you.
Oh, that is very cool. That is very cool. So I think we were going to teach the kids today the difference between the two, but I think they taught us, to be honest with you, Jody. I'm learning a bit myself today. I don't know about you, but we don't need to tell them about a need versus want.
I'll give us ourselves, Paul, I'll give us a little check mark for good parenting here, because I think the answers that we heard today show that we're not doing a terrible job.
Yeah. So I guess we could talk a little bit about going to the mall. Does Juliette like to go to the mall? I know my Julia likes to go to the mall.
Right. We go to the mall. And we go to the stores, right? We go to lots of stores. What's your favorite store, Juliette?
Build-A-Bear.
Build-A-Bear. In the mall. What's the other store that you and Mom go to all the time?
The Apple Store?
Not the Apple Store. I go to the Apple Store. You go to...
Target.
Oh, Target. You love Target, right?
And Julia,
why do you love Target?
Because there's a lot of toys.
There you go. They call that the want department.
That's right. And Julia, how about yourself? When you go to the mall, what's your two favorite stores?
I like Claire's and Bath and Body Works.
Ah, okay. And those are both needs or wants?
Well, Bath and Body Works is a need because you need to clean yourself. But Claire's is a want because it has like jewelry and toys and stuff there.
Very cool. Very cool. Very good. So I think we've identified the need versus wants, and maybe talk a little bit about spending. When you go to the mall, Julia, how do you bring money with you? How do you figure out what you want to buy?
Sometimes I bring money with me, sometimes I don't. But usually I don't, because I like to save up my money.
Very cool. How about you, Juliette, when you go to the mall? Do you bring money with you?
Like, only sometimes when I've been saving up for something that I really wanted.
Oh, that's very cool.
Juliette has become a very, very good saver. Right, Juliette?
Yeah.
To the point where there have been times where she's either seen something in a store or seen something online and says, but I have the money to get that. And I think to myself, no, you don't. And she'll come running downstairs with a little bit more money than I thought she had. And that's because she saves it, right? And Paul, I think that's a really great segue into the discussion that you and I wanted to have with the kids about sort of the attitude around spending and saving, and how you teach the kids, the priority for each and the messages that they see come through. Actually, I'd be interested in asking the girls, do you see, Juliette, we'll start with us. Do you see me and Mom having discussions about budgeting and money a lot?
Yeah.
Yeah, and what do you see us talk about? Tell us. This could get embarrassing, but go ahead. Do you hear us talking about budgeting?
Yeah.
And money?
Yeah.
And what is the last thing you heard us say about money? What were we talking about? Do you remember?
No.
No. Now you guys went to a basketball game on Friday night, right?
Yeah.
Right? And that took a couple extra bucks to buy tickets for that, right?
Yeah.
Right. Did we have to save for that?
Yeah.
And what was the deal that we made about those tickets? Do you remember?
No.
What did we do to pay for those tickets? Do you remember?
Saved up money.
We saved up money. Specifically, we took away money from our weekly eat-out budget, right? Because we budget. Remember, every Friday we eat out, right? We either go to get cheeseburgers or pizza or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so what we did is we skipped an eat-out night, one week, to put that money towards those basketball tickets, right?
Mm-hmm.
And do you think that was a wise thing to do, or do you think that was not so much fun?
It was really fun.
It was really fun. It was a smart thing to do. And then when you went to the basketball game, tell Julia and Paul what you got at the basketball game.
I got a really cool basketball.
Oh, that's awesome.
Right, like a souvenir basketball, right?
Yeah.
But how did you get it? It cost $25.
I saved up my money.
So
Very
you had
cool.
you had money that you had saved up, right?
Yeah.
And you didn't know that you were going to buy a basketball. You didn't know it was going to be there, right?
Yeah, no, I didn't know it was going to be there.
But when you saw it, what did you say? You said to Mom, "Can I get it?"
Can I get it?
Right? And then she said, "Oh, I don't know." And you said,
I'll give you the money at home.
right, because you had the money saved up, right?
Yeah.
Smart girl. And that
Very
is actually
cool.
a great basketball, by the way. We played with it yesterday, and it bounces really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very cool, and it's very, very colorful.
Oh,
So
that's
there's
great.
the benefits. There's the benefits of budgeting, right, for the tickets, and then saving money to buy the basketball. Very good. And that's why Paul and I do this podcast every week.
Yeah.
That's right. That's a great example. That is a great example. So, Julia, when was the last thing you saved up for? Or you've been saving your money, right? Yesterday
I counted my money. All of it.
Yeah? Did you like counting it?
Yeah, I like counting my money.
Now, what are some of the things that you want to do with the money that you've saved up?
Just save it and buy a house when I'm older.
Oh, is that the goal? Do you have any immediate things you might want to buy besides the house?
Maybe a pet.
A pet. That's probably for another podcast. But but that's very cool. That's very cool. And when you go to the mall, you bring your money with you sometimes?
No, usually if I see something I really want, like extremely want, I ask my mom. I asked whoever's there with me if I didn't bring money, I'll pay you back at home. But if it's like something I don't really need, or it's just I want it but I don't really need it and I don't extremely want it, I don't have to get it.
Very cool. Very cool. So I think both our kids have their what we'll call impulse buying. Some adults have a hard time when they see something, they go and buy it immediately, right? And that's called an impulse, right? So if they see something, they have to go buy it, right? Why do you say that?
Because my mom has a lot of dishes that she collects.
Oh, I don't know if she impulse buys those, but it sounds like both Juliette and yourself, Julia, have a good, healthy sense about money where you don't impulse buy. You see something and you think about it
And
before
then
you buy it.
If I extremely want it, I'll get it. But if I don't, then just leave it there.
That's very cool. And Juliette, what were you going to say, hon?
We've had lots of lessons about impulse buying, right? So
Yeah.
we see something, and when you were little, we would walk through the store, and you would, it's fun to go look at the toys, right?
Yeah.
And go check things out and see maybe if there's something new that you've never seen before. But then there's that feeling that kicks in where you see that something new and you say, oh my gosh, I need that so much. And here we go, needs versus wants, right? I need that so bad, I need it so bad, right? And then what do we always do? We step back, we take a breath, right? Right? And what do you think of when you do that? What do you think of, Juliette? You think of maybe how much money you have saved up?
Yeah.
Whether you have enough to pay for it?
Yeah.
Do you always have enough money to pay for stuff?
No.
Not always, right?
Yeah.
So what do you do when you don't have the money to pay for it? What do you do?
I go home and I save up.
You save up. That's right. And how do you save up your money?
By doing chores.
You do some chores around the house? What do you do?
I take out the garbage every day.
Good. You and your brother take out the garbage during the week and the recycling?
Yeah.
Very cool. And then you take that money that you get every week, and what do you do with it?
And I put it in my wallet and save it up.
Very good. And so how long do you save for something?
Sometimes it's like a week, sometimes it's like a month. And if it's a really big thing, it's like a year.
Oh man, okay. But you like saving your money?
Yeah.
You've impressed me a couple times because I've seen that wallet come out and there's way more than I expected there to be.
That is great. We had that moment yesterday, right, Julie? You were counting your money and you had way more money than I expected you to have in there.
I had less money than I expected to have.
Oh, okay. So that means you got to save more.
Yeah.
How about the brother? Does he save or does he spend?
Andrew has $1,000.
Andy's got 1,000. Oh my gosh.
He has 1,100.
Wow. Yeah. Now, how about your brother, Juliette? How's your brother? Does he save all his money or does he spend all his money?
He saves it and then once he saved it when it was his birthday and he got a Nintendo Switch.
Ah, he sounds like
my brother got a Nintendo Switch for Christmas last year.
Yeah, Sam put together things like gift cards that he got for his birthday and some cash that he had saved up. And when you put all that together, and there's a great lesson too, Paul, right? You put all that stuff together in the aggregate, it becomes enough sometimes to get the thing that you want.
Yes.
Right? So that also reinforces not only saving, but planning, right? And seeing the whole big picture and how things fit together. Right, Juliette?
And last year, Sam, for Christmas, he got a really big thing and it was a PS4.
Oh, yeah. Well, that was from Santa Claus, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So Santa Claus has an unlimited budget.
Yeah.
Who's done the same thing? Brother? Andrew?
Andrew has a lot of gift cards from GameStop because everybody always gets him GameStop gift cards for his birthdays and Christmas and stuff. And he saves up them and then he gets something at GameStop.
What has he bought that's big at GameStop? Do you remember?
No.
Xbox One.
He bought an Xbox One?
Yeah, he bought an Xbox One. He bought his Wii U that way.
Uh-huh. He saves up.
Yep, he saves up. And one thing about Andrew, he gets a certain level of trepidation when it comes to spending some of the money, right? He doesn't like to spend the money.
He tries to, when he has a bunch of ones, he has 50 ones. He always asks me, can I have a $50 bill for 50 ones?
Whoa, we're talking about big dollars here now, Jody.
Man.
When I was a kid, it was not 50 ones for a $50 bill, I can tell you that.
Oh my gosh, $5, I was rich. I still feel rich with a $5 bill in my wallet. Because I never carry cash.
So it's so funny. I mean, with Andrew, with her brother, one of the things I'll talk about a little bit.
He's been saving since he's really young.
I think he
doesn't usually since he got older, he usually only asks for money for Christmas because nobody knows what to get him, or for his birthday, so they just give him money or a gift card.
Yeah, and he's very careful with the way he spends it,
or he gets clothes with it.
Yeah, sometimes he buys clothes, right? But sometimes, if he's been really wanting to get some some computer equipment, and he'll hesitate because I think this goes back to what we've talked about on previous podcasts, Jody, where we think that the kids do learn that when they've saved a certain amount of money, they'll really reflect on spending it. So the example I go back to is Andy wanted a piece of computer equipment that he's been really going back and forth on because it's the virtual reality stuff. It's a big spend.
Because he used to have like this cardboard thing, and it goes around your head, and then you put like your phone in it, and there's like an app to like make it feel like you're in virtual reality. But he really wants, because we went to this place in the mall with my grandparents, and we went to this virtual reality store, and they had like games and stuff that you can use, and it was really fun. And he used a lot of virtual reality stuff, and then he came home and he tried to count all his money.
Yeah, and he has enough money. Yes.
And my dad's friend Marco, he has one, and my dad, because he's really good in technology, my dad asked him how much is like a virtual reality thing, and he said that he had one at his house, and we went to his barbecue, and my brother tested it out.
Yeah, so he really researched it, tested it, asked me to order it, and then an hour after he asked me to order it, he came back down the steps and said, "Don't order it."
Why?
Because I think he was really hesitating to spend the money, right? Because he wasn't sure whether he needed it or he wanted it, and he had enough money to buy it, and it was within his budget to buy it, but he still hasn't bought it.
Maybe for Christmas.
Right?
For Christmas.
Maybe Santa will get it for him. Yeah, maybe Santa will get it.
And that goes into the need versus want, how maybe a want can become a need. You know, in that case where he wanted to build that thing, and so in order to build that thing, he needed that particular part. So sometimes wants can become needs. But the important thing, and I think, Paul, to segue back to the mission of the podcast, is that we always want to make sure that we're planning for the things that we buy, and we don't buy them, as we said before, kind of on impulse. And so that's a really great story, Julia.
Yeah.
That is very cool. So I guess maybe we'll go into our recap, Jody, and this week I think we'll hear from all four of us. So what I learned today...
That sounds great.
...is that, and maybe I should have learned this sooner, is a need and a want could almost be, they could be the same thing, right? So you might need something, you might want something, and it depending on...
Like, for example, like a house.
Like a house, that's right. Do you need shelter versus a house? And I think that's a very good lesson that I learned. So, Juliette, what have you learned from today's podcast?
Juliette, what have you learned about needs versus wants? What was your favorite part of our today's discussion? Rainbow unicorns?
Yes.
And I think the part that I learned, and we'll let Julia finish it off here, but I think the part that I learned is that our kids are learning by example, by the example that we set. And not by what we tell them, really, but by what we do and what we show them. And like I said before, you know, if the answers that we heard today from the kids are any indication, we're doing an okay job, Paul.
Very cool. I would have to agree. And
my
Julia?
favorite part was asking my dad what a need or a want is, because I've learned about it in school, but I didn't totally know if there was like both, if they made stuff that was like both a need and a want, like a drill and stuff like that.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, I think we've recapped this very well, and I think for this podcast today, we're going to let Juliette close the show out for us.
All right,
so Juliette, we'll let you take it away.
Right, do that. Can you do that?
I enjoyed our discussion today, and I am personally looking forward to the next one.
Now read the next line.
Thanks for downloading our podcast. If you have any questions or comments, please email us at financialdads@gmail.com or check us out on Facebook. Just go to financialdads.com. So with that, this is Juliette and Jody and Julia and Paul reminding you
managing finances
can be stressful, but that's why financial dads are here to help you plan for success. Have a good one, everybody. Be well and thank you.